Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Many of the other radio programs are really programs where the pastor speaks on Sunday and then somebody cuts the sermon up into radio programs. But at the Prophecy Club, I almost always make the program specifically for radio, and the things that come from the pulpit on Sunday don't make it on radio, and the things that are on radio generally don't make it to the pulpit. Occasionally, but normally there's a dividing line between it. However, this is actually the audio of several different sermons, and they are sermons that the radio audience, the people that are interested in Bible prophecy, that want to know what is coming in the future, need to be hearing. Now, here's what you're going to be hearing over the next several sermons. This is a compilation of prophetic words from Mina Gribben, Terry Bennett, Shane Warren, Dr. Patricia Green, Pastor Terry D. Hale, Doug Metzger, Bree Keaton, Neville Johnson, and Patty Travato, all talking about what God has shown them for the future. The powerful part of this is when you hear the same point in the mouth of two or three witnesses, then we can believe it's from God. But if it's not confirmed, then we leave it on the shelf. Now, I'm going to take you on over to me actually talking at the Spirit of Prophecy Church, and of course, this would be a good time for me to invite you to come. We're on the corner of Park and K in Plano. Friday evening Bible study at 6:30, and then Sunday morning beginning at 9:30. And we'd love to have you. However, we do ask you to visit at least 5 times when you come so you can really get the flavor of what the Spirit of Prophecy Church is all about. Now let's go listen to what God is saying these days prophetically. And we have to put our understanding, I mean, that's one of the dangers of teaching prophecy. Tell me. Because you get it wrong. But you have to readjust your charts. What does it say that he takes peace from the earth and he was given a great sword? What does a sword represent? What kind of a great sword was Obama given when he was given the presidency? He was given the greatest military power on the earth. Is that a great sword? Can he take peace from the earth if he does wrong things? She just made a very good point that I do want to get to. Is this the good years? Yeah. Now, what makes it good? That's right. We're about to talk about that. Look, you will be strong and you do exploits. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of people going to be doing a whole lot of hurting. Like Elvis said, there's a whole lot of shaking going on, okay? But there's also going to be a group of people that do know their God. They're going to be strong and do exploits. Now, again, I'm saying it depends on what position you put yourself in. Now, let's move on. So what if the white horse or the prophet is about to ride? Or a false prophet, excuse me. What if, this is, again, please, I'm not saying this is true. I don't even want to believe it. But I'm a professional prophecy teacher here for some 20 years, and I'm having this, I feel my brain shifting because I'm having to rearrange some of my charts to fit what the prophets are saying. So what if we're about to see the false prophet arise? What if this happens at the beginning, and as in 2022? And then if there is war, that would make things get very expensive. And then in the middle of the tribulation, the Antichrist shows up. When the Antichrist shows up, that splits and makes people make a decision. Because then the false prophet says, this guy over here, you got to worship him. He's divinity. He is God. And if you don't, then what happens? Now, follow me back. Look at the overview. False prophet arises. Obama causes World War III, brings it on. As a result of war, what happens? Things get extremely expensive. Antichrist raises his head. A lot of people get martyred. Jesus returns. Are you with me? I don't like this, guys. I wanted to see this happen 2040. But I got to show you, it might be a lot closer than what I thought. We'll see a lot more. You watch the coming months, the newspapers. Some of the things that you thought you'd never hear, you're going to start hearing. Shane Warren said that there's a 400-year judgment cycle on America's judgment. He said that America's judgment arises in 2020. Why? 400 years from what? The Mayflower Compact. Mayflower Compact signed November 11, 1620. Add 400 years on about 2020. Now, that's just one voice. Then Terry Bennett told me on the phone, the fall of America will be in the year 2021. And he said that's what Gabriel told him. That's a big thus saith. You don't miss on that, guys. That's a big one. Also, it is 400 years from the signing of the Mayflower Compact, 40 years from the judgment time that was first spoken to Dmitri in 1980. So, will America fall in 2020 or 2021? At this point, I'm going to have to say likely. But I also, before I even finish the statement, want to say, but know if I have anything to do with it. In other words, if we can fill up those sports stadiums with enough people casting dust on their heads, wearing sackcloth, and repenting, maybe God will give us more time. There's no guarantee to that, but maybe. All right, let's move on. Global Jubilee currency reset. Now let's talk about the good times that are coming. Mina Grebin said that many Christians will be greatly blessed in this time of need. I asked her, she know anything about the global currency reset? Where'd you get it? Must have heard from the Lord. Shane Warren said, I saw God prospering greatly, many acquiring things, a transfer of wealth coming into the hands of the believers. Silver will skyrocket and rise far more than gold. Terry Bennett says there will be a change in the U.S. currency. A different currency is going to come, at least one. I estimate some 25 million people have put in dinar. In other words, there's about to be 25 million rich, mostly all Americans. Try to imagine 25 million Christians becoming wealthy almost overnight. Global currency, that's the Jubilee. Because the Jubilee, according to Leviticus 25, had three things to it. They were to return all land to its rightful owner. They were to free all slaves. Aren't we slaves to the lender right now? Yeah, okay. And they were to remove all debt. All debts were to be canceled. That's what the global currency reset sees. That's what they're going to do. They're going to wipe out all of the debts from all governments, wipe out all the debts from all banks. Now, there's a good side to that, but there's a bad side to that. What's the bad side of paying off all the government debt around the globe? They get to start borrowing again? I suspect it's actually the other way around. In other words, I suspect they say, we just paid off all your debt. Now you can't go into debt anymore. What does that mean? That means governments have to live within their means, like we do. What does that mean? What does that mean for America? Think it through, guys. What does that mean? What happens when America can't go in debt anymore? What happens? What kind of programs? What kind of government programs? Welfare, food stamps, Section 8, Medicare, Medicaid. I don't know. I'm just saying we have to live within our means. Now, what does that mean? Okay, let's progress it. Think it through. Okay, so government checks, the free checks from the government stop. Then what happens? Did everybody hear that? Riots. Okay, let's go on. Gabriel speaking to Dmitri. Now, you've heard this many times, but look carefully at the words. The fall of America will start with an internal revolution. Give me a definition of an internal revolution. It went on to define it. An internal revolution in America started by we don't have any communists in America anymore. The reason we don't have any communists because that all got kicked out with all of those. You remember you don't even hear them talk about the word communist on TV anymore. There can't be any communists here. Well, the TV doesn't say there's any communists, so there can't be any communists here. In other words, yes, there are communists here. Okay. But it went on to say some of the people, now look carefully at these words. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. What is that? That's an internal revolution. United we stand, divided we fall. Was that a prophecy or was that just a slogan? Maybe it's a prophecy. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. What would make people start fighting against the government? We want our entitlements. What else? I'm serious, I'm asking you. What would make people start fighting against the government? Okay, yes, hunger. Okay, how bad would that fighting be? My opinion is I think that we would probably see Ferguson and Baltimore and most every city all across America. But is that the internal revolution? I agree. That's rioting, that's burning, that's looting. That's civil unrest. Now, let's go on. God may be busy with internal problems. Then Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and 2 other countries attack. Now, so we say welfare stops, riots start. Internal revolution will be something like they cut off welfare checks. Dimitri Duduman told me that. The angel Gabriel told Terry, when the checks from our government stop coming to the people, the chaos will ensue. Wait a minute, what is that? That's one person saying it. What's that? That's another person. Guess what? We got 3 people. The devaluing of our dollar caused major rioting in the streets, looting the signs, saying, I want my entitlements. Guys, we have 4. Cities will burn. I saw riots in the streets, and neighbors were fighting each other. We have 4 different people saying our cities will soon be burning. I didn't say it. People lots better than me said it. Civil unrest. Terry Bennett said, period 2, from 2015 to 2021, his own writing. Governmental changes. Terry explained what the United States is going to go through is civil conflict, civil war, then invasion. Now, wait a minute. What's civil conflict? What's the difference between civil conflict and civil war? I would say, yes, this is riots, cities burning. But what's this? What is this? Okay, civil conflict would be Baltimore and Ferguson, except for all over every place, right? What's civil war? Civil war is only one thing. Neighbor fighting neighbor. I mean, that was North fighting South, right? Internal fighting. What would cause us to fight each other? Is there any kind of a conflict between blacks and whites? Is there any kind of a conflict between the wealthy and the poor? Is there any kind of conflicts between the people that are supposed to be getting those entitlements and the people supposed to be paying for them?
We'll be right back after this message.
Come and go with the Prophecy Club to Israel. November 5 to 15, Leslie and I will take you on a biblical archaeology and a Bible prophecy tour. A tour like none other. What makes our tour different than the other tours? Well, we're going to take you to the traditional sites the other tours go on, but we're going beyond. We're going to show you the places and give you information other tours can't. In 1991, Leslie and I went on a tour with Ron Wyatt. He showed us archaeological secrets in Israel we're going to show to you, such as the iron spike that sealed the tomb of Jesus, proving Gordon's Calvary really is the tomb of Jesus. And you're going to pick up brimstone from the city of Gomorrah. You'll gather tar drips from the slime pits of Sodom. You'll visit the more likely birthplace of Jesus, not the one the tour buses stop at. In a special escort, you'll get to go behind the gates at the Garden of Gethsemane and pray. And if the drilling permit has been granted, we'll also go pray over the future drill sites for prophetic oil. Yes, you'll see many of the traditional sites, but this tour goes way beyond. Call 310-402-4042. That's 310-402-4042 for more information. Seating is limited. 310-402-4042.
And now, back to the program.
Okay? Then, invasion. Does that fit what Dimitri Duduman was told? Are you with me? Okay, let's go on. Shane Warren, the devaluing of the dollar caused, what's the caused? Major rioting in the streets. Looting, signs were saying, I want my entitlements. Boom. Ferguson, Baltimore. Only not just in 2 cities. How many cities would be doing that? They cut off welfare checks. How long would it be before we see rioting in the streets? Here's why I think it happened. Probably they cut it off. They announced to everybody, okay, well, hey, we've had this great currency revaluation. We're doing away with the Federal Reserve dollar. We've got all of our debts paid off, and there's rejoicing. Yay, happy day, happy day. And then they come up and say, oh, by the way, something we probably ought to mention. We have to live within our means. We can't go into debt anymore. So we've got to cut the budget. Cut. And it'll probably be something along those lines. Then all of a sudden, the checks don't start arriving. And when the checks stop, the people, at first they're mad. They go out and they hold up signs. They think that that'll get the checks moving. A couple of weeks later, no checks moving. Then what happens? It escalates. Now we start burning and looting. Still no checks. What's the next escalation? Now, what did the blacks just say? If you shoot our people, we will burn your homes. In other words, this is not just burning your 7-Eleven down. What? Neighbor against neighbor. Yes? See what I'm saying? All right. Martial law. Patricia Green, Mina Grebin, Glenda Jackson. I've got 3 people that say we're going to martial law. Say the martial law would replace the civil law of the land. The imposition of martial law would mean, all right, hold on. I just did a little research. Somebody tell me, what is martial law? If Obama declares martial law, okay, so you got the picture? Global currency reset, checks stop, cities get burned. It's so bad, Obama declares martial law. Now, when he declares martial law, what does that mean? It suspends the Constitution for up to 5 years. The president stays in office. Civil rights are gone. America's freedom is gone. Checkpoints, curfews, barbed wire prison camps start filling up. The barbed wire prison camps that don't exist start filling up. Civil war will replace the civil law of the land. The imposition of martial law would mean the suspension of civil rights, civil law, would be replaced by military authority. There would be curfews, roadblocks, checkpoints to maintain order and control. Then the angel visited this Mina Grebin, and she said, I asked the angel, will Hillary win in 2016? She says the elections would be delayed. There will not be a 2016 election. Obama will remain in the White House. That fits with what Terry Hale, was shown. Obama will be in the White House when America falls. There was a prophecy given through Glenda Jackson that says if Christians don't start praying, there will be no 2016 election. It will be suspended. Evil will rise, disasters will happen, and the president will not be removed. He will stay in, and these things are going to be very bad. Now, how many of you have heard about Jade Helm? Wow, really? Not everybody heard? Okay. The government has announced a series of 10 military drills across the country. Most of them, by the way, just happen to be taking place in Texas. For example, Midland, Texas. They call it Jade Helm. These are simply military exercises in America, right? Okay, so I typed in Jade Helm acronym. Here's what it means. Jade Helm means Joint Assisted Deployment and Execution. Helm means Homeland Extermination of Local Militias. What? Homeland Extermination of Local Militias. What? What does that mean? This means what? It means more than that. I don't think it's talking, I wouldn't call the Texas Guard, I wouldn't call that a militia. This is an oath of allegiance. I want you to notice the part in red. It says, I will support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Who takes this? All U.S. military personnel and all immigrants who wish to become U.S. citizens have to take that oath. So what does that mean? What does it mean when the Constitution is suspended? What do you suppose is going to happen? Freedom gone, yes. What else? Who gets mad at that? Who gets mad? Constitutionalists, ex-military. They took the oath. Just because they're not paid by the government, they consider themselves still under the oath. Military, patriots, Texans. Am I right or wrong? I want to go back to martial law. She says martial law is coming. The global currency reset takes place. There's rejoicing. Checks stop. Protesting escalates more. Finally, martial law declared. Constitution suspended. People are getting arrested. Things are happening in our nation that we never, ever thought would happen. No more elections. That means Obama is... Do you understand that one of the things, part of the oath that many of the military have taken is to follow the orders of the president? He becomes dictator. Martial law makes him dictator. We have Obama become dictator at that point. So now we have some people that are openly fighting against the government. They start forming militias. They pull out Jade Helm. In other words, this is posse comitatus reversed. This is military fighting against local militias. We have open fighting. We have people picking up their 30-06s and their shooting irons, and they're firing against our own military. That's neighbor against neighbor. In America, can you see it? Or am I just out to lunch here? You see that? Okay. Now, what is going to be the response of the government when we form militias, when we start wanting our Constitution back and we start firing at the military? It's worse than Waco. What happens? What happened? I still hadn't heard it. That's it. Now what happens when Obama comes on and says, we're going to have to confiscate the guns? You got 60 days or 90 days or 30 days, whatever it might be, to turn in your weapons. Now, let me explain. This van over here has electronic detection. It detects hard metal, like what weapons are made out of. And we will drive this down this street. And by the way, they already have them made. Thousands, maybe millions of the vans. We'll drive this down every street. And if we detect weapons in your home after the amnesty period, when they were supposed to have been voluntarily turned in, then this and this and this and this will happen to you. We will confiscate your weapons, you will be arrested, and we're going to introduce you to the FEMA barbed wire prison camps that do not exist. Once that happens, what's the next thing? No weapons in America. No weapons. They're all gone. Obama's in charge. What does Obama want to make America? I'm sorry, what? How many of you believe that? How many of you believe that Obama wants to make America a Muslim nation? Does that fit with prophecy? Unfortunately, it does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 verses that say that. I saw on the altar of those that were slain for the word of God. Oh, but that's not talking about America, Stan. Yeah, it is, but I'll prove to you. He says, well, how long, O Lord, holy and true, before you judge all the people that killed us? Give them white robes. Tell them to sit down and rest for a little season until their fellow servants and their brethren should be killed as they were. Yeah, but that's not talking about in America. Well, let me ask you this. If I could just push a little button, all the Christians around the globe die, where would you find most of them laying? France? Right here, okay? Revelation 16, because they've shed the blood of saints and prophets, I'm going to give them blood to drink. I saw the woman. Who's the woman? That's right. What church has and will kill Christians before and again? Catholic Church, okay? I saw the woman drunken with the blood of saints. In other words, she's killed a lot of Christians. And with the blood of martyrs of Jesus. And then chapter 18 and 19, both of these chapters, the angel specifically said these chapters are talking about America. Rejoice over her heaven and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her. What's the word avenge mean? You did something wrong to them and God is making it right. Rejoice, apostles and prophets, because what? What has happened? Martyrdom. Mass martyrdom. In her was found the blood of prophets and saints, all the. Now, here's my point. If Americans, if we have our shooting irons, that could not happen. Those verses would not be in the Bible. I'm telling you, global currency reset leads to martial law, leads to gun confiscation, leads to Christian martyrdom. And it starts this fall. We are no longer waiting for the end times to be here. The end times are stepping on our toes. Stan, you're trying to scare us to death here. No, I want to explain. The angel that spoke to Dimitri, he said, in the time of trouble, I will begin to speak to all of my people like I speak to you. We have been praying for revival in this nation for centuries. We want to see, but right now they turn their nose at Jesus. They laugh. They don't need God. They don't need to go to church. Every time Dimitri was given a message from the angel, there was always a line or two in there of hope. So I want to give you a line or two of hope. And that is, the angel would say, like for example, one time showed him an army of angels. And he said, this army is prepared to save my people in the day of trouble. Dimitri, when we were riding around one time, said, we kept passing over rivers, and every time we passed a river, he says, what's the name of that river? Well, after 2 or 3 days of this, I said, you want to tell me how come he keeps wanting to know the name of every river we pass? He said, well, because the angel took and showed me a wooded area between 2 large rivers, and he thought one of them might be the Missouri River. He says, we just thought that we might be here. In other words, every time, there's always a message of hope. So I want to let you know absolutely positively in the trouble ahead, here, God is going to take care of us. The global currency reset is about to change this church, but not just this church. I mean, we got 25 million. I don't even know how many other churches. I dare not ask him. They don't become a little wealthy. They become multi-millionaires. Some of them billionaires overnight. like that. And that's in the hands of the church. That's the 7 years of plenty. That's the money that we use to win souls to fight. He gives us a great blessing. The 7 years of plenty is about to start. But then we've got to use that because there's 7 years of famine coming. That's what he's essentially saying. The message for us this morning is no. Yes, there is a great blessing coming, and I'm almost certain it's coming this year. If you talk to people I talk to, they say any day. But I personally believe it'll be on about or around September 25th because that is Day of Atonement, which according to Leviticus 25 is when they were told to blow a trumpet in the land and proclaim a jubilee. So I think September 25th on about or associated with that day is going to be the great global currency reset. When you see that, then everything from there is going to move forward. There will be a short time of rejoicing. As Janice was given a dream a couple of years ago, that she was shown that then things get really expensive. What she was told would cost $10,000 now cost $100,000. Things get really expensive, just like it says right there, day's work for a day's pay. But when the church has millions and millions of dollars, it's going to be soul winning time. In all of this trouble, God, He has already prepared a place for us. He has already prepared the finances for us. It's going to be time to go to work. We're going to be winning lots and lots and lots of souls. As for Leslie and I, God has already shown us we're going to be doing meetings in sports stadiums. We're going to go to Israel and do some stuff with oil. I don't think it's time to get depressed if your eyes are seeing it through the eyes of the Lord. Through the eyes of the Lord, this has to happen. Keep your eyes on Jesus. It's going to be okay. He's prepared this church and others like us to be a beacon of light in what is about to be a great amount of darkness. It will be good. Churches will fill up. Sports stadiums will fill up. I look to the time when they come running out of the stands, falling on their face, giving their heart to Jesus. That's the good news for me. That's what I look for. Giving their heart to Jesus. And it's not just Jesus come into my heart little prayer. It's a really serious prayer.
Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. Come and go with the Prophecy Club to Israel. November 5 to 15, Leslie and I will take you on a biblical archaeology and a Bible prophecy tour. A tour like none other. What makes our tour different than the other tours? Well, we're going to take you to the traditional sites the other tours go on, but we're going beyond. We're going to show you the places and give you information other tours can't. In 1991, Leslie and I went on a tour with Ron Wyatt. He showed us archaeological secrets in Israel we're going to show to you, such as the iron spike that sealed the tomb of Jesus, proving Gordon's Calvary really is the tomb of Jesus. And you're going to pick up brimstone from the city of Gomorrah. You'll gather tar drips from the slime pits of Sodom. You'll visit the more likely birthplace of Jesus, not the one the tour buses stop at. In a special escort, you'll get to go behind the gates at the Garden of Gethsemane and pray. And if the drilling permit has been granted, we'll also go pray over the future drill sites for prophetic oil. Yes, you'll see many of the traditional sites, but this tour goes way beyond. Call 310-402-4042. That's 310-402-4042 for more information. Seating is limited. 310-402-4042. It's time for our summer blowout. You can get 20 DVDs for a gift of $160. That's only $8 each. 10 for a gift of $100. That's $10 each. 7 for a gift of $120. That's $17 each. 4 DVDs for a gift of $85. That's $21 each. Or 2 DVDs for a gift of $50. $25 each. But you got to call 785-266-1112. That's 785-266-1112. And the offer ends soon.